Thanks, Max. Okay, greetings, everybody. I'd like to call this General Committee meeting to order at exactly 9 a.m. And I can confirm we have full quorum today, which is wonderful. And with that, Councillor Morrison, would you mind reading the land acknowledgement, please?
Indeed, Mayor Alcock, and through you, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe under the terms of the Robinson-Huron Treaty Number 61 of 1850 and the Williams Treaties of 1923. We commit to acknowledge, learn, educate, create opportunity, honor sacred places, and take actions towards real truth and reconciliation in support of our commitment to walking the path together in respect, peace, and harmony for future generations.
Thank you very much for that. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest today? Okay, seeing none. We do not have any invited or ceremonial presentations, but we do in fact have one deputation, and we are joined by Tony Armstrong and Butch Hall, amongst two more, from Ramsey Shriners and Muskoka Shrine Club regarding their flag raising and clock tower request. Welcome, gentlemen. What a day it is. Snowy day to be here.
It was a great drive.
Wasn't it?
No.
Wasn't it?
No. It was great until Severn Bridge, and then it was
And
just
then,
a mess.
oh, yeah, no
Yes.
kidding.
So we do have one change. Tony Armstrong is not here today, so I
Oh.
have David Finch with us.
Oh,
today.
okay. Sorry, David. Welcome.
Great. Good morning, Your Worship, Mayor Nancy Alcock, members of council, staff, and guests. My name is Butch Hall, and I am a proud member of the Muskoka Shrine Club. And this year I am to serve as the Director General of the 2026 Ramesses Spring Ceremonial to be held here in Huntsville. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you this morning. I am here today to respectfully request that the town of Huntsville allow the Shriners to raise their flag at the Town Hall and Summit Center and illuminate the clock tower in red for the weekend of June 11th through the 14th, 2026, in recognition of the spring ceremonial being hosted. Before I speak further about that request, I would like to take a few minutes to explain who Shriners are, what we do, and why this event and your support truly matters. Shriners International is a fraternity built on fellowship, fun, and most importantly, philanthropy. Our philanthropy is the Shriners Hospital for Children, now known as Shriners Children's. It is a network of 22 hospitals and approximately 75 outreach clinics across North America. These hospitals specialize in pediatric orthopedic conditions such as burn treatments, spinal cord injuries, cleft lip and palate care, sports injuries, and other complex medical conditions affecting children. What makes Shriners unique is not only the world-class medical care provided, it is the promise behind that care. The families are never billed. Transportation to and from appointments is provided when needed, surgeries are covered, hospital stays are covered, braces, prosthetics, wheelchairs, medical devices are also covered, and follow-up care is also covered. Care is provided regardless of a family's ability to pay for these services. That is made possible entirely through fundraising and the generosity of our donors and volunteers. Here in Canada, we have one hospital, and we proudly support Shriners Hospital for Children in Montreal, along with the Canadian Outreach Clinics. The Montreal Hospital is internationally recognized as a leader in pediatric orthopedics and musculoskeletal care. They treat the conditions such as scoliosis, hip dysplasia, clubfoot, ACL tears, brittle bone disease, and complex spinal conditions. They also provide rehabilitation and long-term follow-up that allows the children not just to recover, but to thrive. This is not distant or abstract work. Just in the past few years, 3 children from the Muskoka area have received care through Shriners and have gone on to live full, rich, and active lives because of this treatment. On a very personal note, my own niece was treated at the Montreal Hospital at the age of 14 for severe scoliosis. At the time, her curvature was progressing so rapidly, and like many parents and family members, we were scared of what the future might hold for her. Thanks to the skills of the surgeons and the care team at Shriners, she underwent corrective surgery and received follow-up care that changed the trajectory of her life. Today, she is an active 18-year-old, confident, and able to pursue everything she wants to do, short of competitive show horse jumping, which we joke about, but otherwise, there are no limits placed on her future. Our family experienced firsthand the compassion, dignity, and excellence that define Shriners Care. That is why we do what we do. Now let me return and speak about the spring ceremonial. Each year, Ramesses Shriners holds its spring ceremonial in a different Ontario community. It is both a celebration of fellowship and an important milestone event where new members are initiated, men who commit themselves to supporting our charitable missions. Huntsville was selected to host as the host community for 2026, and planning has been underway for the past 4 years. From June 11th to 14th, we will welcome over 700 Shriners and guests to Huntsville. Our weekend will include a Friday evening cottage gathering that highlights Muskoka hospitality, a Saturday afternoon parade through town, a ceremonial and installation for the new members, an evening banquet on Saturday evening in celebration, and on Sunday morning, we will end our weekend with a traditional drumhead church service. Beyond the fellowship and celebration, this event brings meaningful economic impact to our community. Hotels, restaurants, shops, and local businesses will see the benefit of welcoming more than 700 visitors over that weekend. But even more importantly, it'll bring more awareness to our cause. It reminds people that behind the parades and the red fezzes is a serious and deeply committed charitable mission focused entirely on children. That is why we are respectfully requesting that the town raise the Shriners flag at Town Hall and the Summit Center and illuminate the clock tower in red during those dates. This gesture would not only recognize our presence in Huntsville, but it would symbolize the town's support for the children and families who depend on Shriners Care. A flag and red lights might seem like small gestures, but symbols matter. They spark conversations, they prompt questions, and they give us an opportunity to tell the story of the children whose lives are changed because of the community that chose to show their support. Huntsville has always been a community that rallies behind important causes. And we are proud to bring this event here. We are proud of the work that we do, and we are proud to represent an organization that has helped so many families, including families right here in Muskoka. Council's support would mean a great deal, not just to the Shriners attending that weekend, but to the children whose future and brighter is brighter because of this work. On behalf of the Muskoka Shrine Club and Ramesses Shriners, I would like to thank you for your time and your consideration and the support that you have shown our community and organization in the past. We respectfully ask for your support in raising our flags and illuminating the clock tower in red from 11th and to the 14th of June in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Butch. And I also want to just say thank you to the Shriners, the philanthropic work that you've been doing forever, all over, is so renowned, and it's just, it goes without saying how important it is for the lives of kids all over. And as you noted, even kids in our community, which is we're very thankful for. And we're also really excited to be the host community of these upcoming celebrations in 2026. That's very cool, and we're very fortunate that it's here. In a quick administrative detail, as you know, staff are bringing forward the report recommending approval of your request later on in the meeting. But with that, I will ask Councillor Stone.
Thank you. Well, welcome, gentlemen. I'm happy to support this, of course. Ever since I was a kid, I love the theatrics in the parades that the Shriners have always brought. Can you tell us more about the parade?
So the parade this year, we're expecting, I think it's 20 or 22 different shrine clubs to show up with their parade units. So there'll be everything from us with our mini bikes and our fire trucks to the Keystone Cops who ride around chasing criminals on their big wheeled bicycles. And then sure, there'll be a bunch of clowns running around. I know some kids are afraid of clowns, but if Tony's here, he'll make sure he wins them over. And there's a multitude of groups. We've got a group called the Founders Unit that brings replica streetcar from the early Toronto days, and they'll have a big transport truck that they store that in, and it's all decorated up as a big advertisement for Shriners Hospitals. So there'll be, I'm expecting about 22 different groups to show up this year. Was it New Beaver? Yeah, New Beaver has a train. It's a transport truck and a trailer as well, but they are probably the most energetic group, and I bet you they're all probably about average age of 75, and they're just dancing around and having a great time. So as soon as you see this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. These guys are just over the top having fun. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Are there any other questions or comments from council? Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you both for...
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm just moving right along. All right, we don't have any other deputations, so I am going to turn it over to Councillor Schumacher to assume the chair for Community Services.
It only goes so far, though. So try to get closer. So first up, we have report 611 CS 2026-1 Muskoka Heritage Place 2025 annual report, and Jillian Jordan is here to speak to this. It is for information only, but take it away, Jillian.
Thank you very much. As Chair Schumacher mentioned, this report is for information only, but it highlights the activities of Muskoka Heritage Place in 2025 and also highlights the various collections that's within the Town of Huntsville scope. So Muskoka Heritage Place safeguards 65,850 artifacts as of December 31st, 2025, and as well the public art and the sports memorabilia. The report for Muskoka Heritage Place itself highlights a lot of the achievements. We were fortunate to have a lot of partnerships with community organizations, a couple of new ones this year, one being with the North Simcoe Muskoka Specialized Geriatric Services. We partnered with them to offer caregiver respite programs. So using our collection to its benefit to educate people who may be experiencing memory loss, and at that same time offering a respite break for the caregivers to explore the village by snowshoe or by foot, or explore the artifacts. We again partnered with Autism Ontario to provide sensory-friendly train experience at the Portage Flyer Christmas train, and as well during the Great Pumpkin Trail, we offered a sensory-friendly experience prior to the general public opening. We speak to the visit by Honourable Edith Dumont, the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario. We were very fortunate to have that visit. That was well received. She even snuck away a scone in her pocket as she was heading out the door. But if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. This report pretty much goes into detail about our activities for last year.
Any questions for Jillian? Mayor Alcock.
Thank you, Chair Schumacher. And it was great reading the report. So many things going on. And you're right, the visit from the Lieutenant Governor was exceptional. I do have a quick question, just because I thought it was really interesting, and that's about the dementia-friendly programming in partnership with the North Simcoe Muskoka Specialized Geriatric Services. And if you could expand on that, Jillian, that would be great. I just think that sounds like it's an awesome program, and I'd love to know what we're doing.
Great, thank you. Through you, Chair Schumacher. This program, we developed it late last year, so we have not had any participants to date, but we have partnered with, as you mentioned, North Simcoe Muskoka Specialized Geriatric Services, as well as Alzheimer's Society of Muskoka, to get the word out about the program. So it's a twofold. It offers hands-on memory invoking experience for people who may be experiencing memory loss. And at that same time, the caregiver support that is accompanying that participant will be able to provide a respite from being the caregiver of that participant. So they're able to, at that point we were getting into wintertime, so snowshoeing was available, just exploring the exhibits, having some refreshments, being able to have conversations with other caregivers. So it was really twofold. It's great for us because it brings awareness more to our collection, what we offer. It also expands our program offerings too. We do have senior tour groups that come through, but this is much more specialized and hands-on approach for senior or those experiencing memory loss. It's not just geared towards seniors. So we're hoping to carry this program through with the support of our seasonal program coordinator.
Thank you for that. And so you said we didn't have any participants in that, but this year we're hoping to. And
That's right. Yes, we through you, Chair Schumacher, we plan to have another program coming up on Monday, March 2nd, with support from Alzheimer's Society in Muskoka. And then once our program coordinator starts up for the season, we're anticipating May, then they'll be able to carry that program through the season.
Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Chair Schumacher, and through you to Jillian. Thank you so much for this report. I think Muskoka Heritage Place, and I think you have captured it. The amount of work that goes into this place is incredible, and I think it's a jewel that we have in our community that we kind of take for granted. I think a lot of people that live in Huntsville don't realize, but I think in your report you sort of drill down and we discover that there are lots of people who are new Canadians and visitors to our town, but especially new Canadians who really look at this and go, this is incredible history. And like I said, we kind of take it for granted. And it is the history of Huntsville. And a lot of the families that are in Huntsville have connections to, people that came here originally. So thank you for the work that you're doing. And it is a highlight, and it's so coincidental that right now that survey has gone out. So if anyone's listening and you can lock onto that survey, give your ideas, give your report, because it is a jewel in our community. And I thank you and your staff for all the work that you do. Great report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any more comments? No? Okay. Yeah, I was just going to echo Councillor Renwick, but just to reiterate, we are looking at planning for Muskoka Heritage Place. As the chair, we kind of had sat down and looked out at our vision, and we do have the survey is up and running until March 2nd, I believe. Jillian, correct? Yeah, March 2nd. So please get online and do your comments and let us know, because as Councillor Renwick said, it is a jewel in our community, and it is such, we've won awards for small museums and whatnot for this community gem. So let's keep it going.
Thank you very much.
Next, I have 6.1.2. Greg Pilling's gonna go around of number 2 for report number CS 2026-2, the Live Barn video streaming service. Take it away, Greg.
Good morning, and thank you, and through you, Chair Schumacher. This is round 2 of Live Barn, so we've sharpened our pencil and come up with a different plan that's cost zero to the municipality. So it's met with Huntsville Girls Hockey Association, and we discussed shortening the season, not shortening the season, just filming during the season, so that'll reduce us to 28 weeks a year. And we'll tighten up our management of that. We still want to keep the management within the town staff just from privacy and risk management purposes. So we've tightened up the time on that to 2 hours per week, reducing it to 56 hours at a cost of approximately $1,600. My apologies to Councillor Cloutier. I should have had better information at the last report. The $2,000 annual revenue is typical of a town of about 20,000 people. So I reached out to Niagara-on-the-Lakes just to talk with them. They had just started up in August of 2025, and their first check was $250, which will equivalent about $1,750 for the year for them if there's no new additions. So that our expectation is that'll cover our costs right there. Both hockey, we did meet with Huntsville Minor Hockey, and they haven't committed to wanting to be on the platform, but I anticipate they will be using it. It'll just increase our revenues. The same would happen if lacrosse signs up. Lacrosse is pretty set schedule, so there's not a lot of management around that. And again, it'll help increase our revenues with just more participants on the ice. We'll turn the camera off for the off season and requires no administration time, and it'll keep us tighter with the money and then providing that awesome service for the community. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Pilling? Councillor Cloutier.
Should have that ready. Thank you. Just good work, Greg. Glad it's all straightened out here now. The exclusivity rights again through LiveBarn, that's what they do on buildings when they sign up. Is there a clause in there, because we already have another provider in there that has to stay? I was just wondering, is that going to be in our contract that they can't jam?
Yeah, through you, Chair Schumacher. Yes, they've been very flexible on that. It was kind of back when they started up, they were really hard on the exclusive. They've allowed me to put in a new clause into our contract that allows Sports Engine, and if the Otters or anybody else decides to explore a different avenue, they're welcome to. It's under your private rental, so they're not going to dip into that time frame. If you choose, anyone who rents the arena wanted to use a different service, they're allowed to, but it's in our contract.
Yeah, and I'd like to see this lacrosse use it, and make sure that whenever, say, if we ever get back to gymnastics again or whatever, that they're knowledgeable, that they know that it's there and the service is there for them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I'm just curious, as more user groups want to use the LiveBarn, do you see our costs going up at all, or will they cover the cost of our staff to?
Through you, Chair Schumacher, yeah, our anticipation is that the Huntsville girls and the Huntsville minor hockey, they're the most non-static with their schedule. There's a lot of changes, a lot of management required there. Lacrosse is a little more simple. There's not a lot of competition for them for the times of the floor. So it's a lot easier to manage, and we anticipate that any new user groups coming on will just help increase our revenues without making much impact on our management, because we'll be doing it anyway for the girls.
Oh, and I left my thing on. Anyone else? Okay, I do have a motion here. Yes, I did see that after, so I'm going to read it now. And I did realize it's long, but not a two-pager, so we're good. It is moved by Councillor Stone and seconded by Councillor Clark. Whereas Huntsville Girls Hockey Association made a deputation to General Committee on September 24th, 2025, requesting the town install LiveBarn video streaming platform, and whereas staff be directed to investigate a cost recovery model, including implementing user fees, organizations utilizing the LiveBarn service, now therefore it is recommended that staff be authorized to enter into an agreement with LiveBarn for the installation and operation of their video streaming service in both Canada Summit Centre arenas. And further, that commencing in 2027 budget, the part-time customer service representative budget be increased by 56 hours at a cost of $1,600, and that the corresponding LiveBarn revenues be included in the 2027 budget to fully offset this expense. And further, that the agreement shall be to the satisfaction of and signed by the Director of Community Services. Any questions on the motion? No? Then I will call the question. All in favor? And I believe that carries. Okay. Thank you, Greg. And now I will move it over to Councillor Fitzgerald to take over as chair.
Thank you, Councillor Schumacher. I think we're calling up Brandon for a winter operations update. This report is for information only. Thanks, Brandon. Councillor Morrison, you have a comment or a question?
Just a quick comment while Mr. Pilling is still here, and I'm sorry I'm going to break protocol. I did want to mention during the last item because it doesn't apply to that item, but something I didn't share Monday night about the Winter Games, but really came to light last night at our wrap-up meeting. So apologize if it's breaking protocol, but we got the reviews back from all the volunteers and the athletes for how the event went. It was overwhelmingly close to 5 stars from everybody, but the reason I want to point that out is the Summit Center staff was the biggest part of that. Amanda, Simone, Greg, the entire team. Everybody was coming up to us thanking us for how clean the arena was, the service they got, and the staff would come to us at headquarters every morning and give us their phone number and say, what can we do to make the day better? So big kudos to the Summit Center staff and the recreation team. I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thanks for that, Councillor Morrison. I'm sure the accolades will keep coming in. Congratulations to staff for all their efforts. Brandon, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. And we're done, Councilor Morrison?
Yeah,
We're done? For the day? Okay, thank you, everybody. I just wanted to provide a quick PowerPoint of some winter operations updates, just to kind of give you an information of what we've been tasked with and how things have been going. Okay, so we'll see if I can figure this out. There we go. So right off the hop, I have an error. I just want to point that out. We do have 24 winter operations employees, so I must have been typing pretty quick. So we have 24-hour coverage, 3-shift rotations. We work from 4 a.m. to noon, noon to 8, and 8 to 4 a.m. So we're also fully compliant with our minimum maintenance standards. Service area and routes, we got 10 winter runs. We got 9 sand runs and 1 salt run. Salt run's the priority. Each route takes approximately 10 to 12 hours to complete. We have roughly 380 kilometers of municipal roads that we maintain. We also maintain 23 parking lots and 7 laneways on top of the road kilometers. Winter activity to date. So far we've had 47 snow events that require both plowing and sanding. So I want to point out that that does not include times where we've had to go out just sanding. So this is the combo of having to plow and sand. So that number will be way north of 47 for anything that we've had to just sand or just plow. Material usage to date, 532 tons of salt used, 8,600 tons of sand used. One big thing I want to point out is the 8,600 tons of winter sand used is what was recorded in usage of last year. And we still have quite a ways to go. So just to put that into context. Why we use salt in our priority salt run. So our priority salt run, we've got some roads in Port Sydney, some roads in Hidden Valley, and some roads in Huntsville. Prevents ice from bonding to pavement, improves plowing effectiveness, reduces the hard packed snow buildup, provides quicker return to bare pavement, and supports compliance with the minimum maintenance standards. Why priority routes? They're high traffic volume areas, emergency service access, greater safety risk if left snow covered. And when temperatures do call for salt, we do use a sand salt mixture, which we down at Public Works consider it a sweet load, or we'll do a pre-treatment will be applied. Why we use sand? Sand is for traction, doesn't melt ice. The salt that is in the sand is there to stop it from freezing. So it provides immediate grip for vehicles, effective at all temperatures. It's essential during cold weather. Improves safety on hills, intersections, and curves, and more suitable for low volume roads. So sand can be done on most of our sand routes. We do sand, but there's times where they go out and they don't sand the entire route. Straight stretches will remain unsanded, but we might do hills and corners. So again, it's all based on the weather as well. Some operational benefits: reliable and very good conditions, cost effective for local and rural roads, and sand does not melt ice. It provides traction. One thing I like to say all the time is it's the right material, the right road, and the right conditions. So weather does play a big factor in the material that we use and how it works. So we also need to have the right conditions and the right material. So they both go hand in hand. Snow removal, why and when we do it. So it maintains it's basically safety, egress, ingress onto roads, preserves sightlines at intersections, protects drainage capacity for spring melt, prevents narrowing of lanes and loss of parking. When we remove it, so generally we remove snow after a lot of snow events, when lane widths fall below safe standards, when visibility at intersections become restricted, and in preparation for additional forecasted snow. Recent temperature fluctuations, it's another big thing that we've had recently. As they go up and down, they do have their pros and cons. Over the last month, we've experienced significant fluctuations in temperature. It's required more sanding and salting cycles. As you can tell, we are having ourselves quite a winter. Higher material usage as we went through, and increased overtime and equipment wear, higher collision risk, and public exposure. And in summary, continuous 24-hour service delivery, significant winter activity this season. We have declared one significant weather event, maintaining compliance with provincial standards, and ongoing commitment to road safety and service reliability. So that's pretty much what I have for you today. Just a quick update, and yeah, thank you.
Need something. Thanks, Brandon. Any questions or comments? Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. Thank you, Brendan, for the report, and thank you for, obviously, for the work that you and your crews have been doing. It has been a very challenging winter, I'm sure. You mentioned that the sand usage, the amount that we've used, the 8,600, has gone up, or we've used that much to date. Have we used as much salt as we, or more salt than normal? How much salt have we used, basically, I'm asking, compared to other years?
Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. I don't have those exact numbers just for the salt usage based on what was recorded last year, but I do know we are on par.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Renwick. Any further questions or comments? I'll go to Councillor Morrison and then Councillor Cloutier.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. And thanks, Brandon. Your team's killing it this year. I want to give you a chance to explain. I know we've got some phone calls just during that one massive cold snap, but I should say we get a ton of great phone calls that everything is great. That was obviously outside our control. Can you explain maybe to the public when you get that many cold days, why the ice bonds to the road and there's not a whole lot the operations can do no matter how much sand and salt they put down?
Yeah, through you, Chair Fitzgerald. I mean, that's a good question. Again, temperature, it plays a hard factor into what we do. When it gets really cold like that, our priorities do build up. The salt that was previously laid or any sand previously laid doesn't work. So it's not reacting to the weather. So again, you get your snow build up. It provides a huge risk to, safety, emergency services, being able to access certain things. All we can really do is go out and try to shave it down. We'll put graders out there to try to get it down, but we also don't want to cut too far down that we're wrecking our asphalt, and then it becomes another issue to fix in the summertime. So yeah, we just try to do our best to kind of sand it, stay on top of it. Even some sand, I mean, it is a dense material, so it will stick a little bit, but even in cold temperatures, it can potentially fly off as well. So we just ask everybody to drive, according to the conditions, and we just try to do our best to stay on top of it. And again, we're monitoring the forecast. So like if we've got some snowpack and we got hard or cold weather, yeah, it's kind of stagnant, as far as what we can do. But the minute we monitor the weather, where they get some warm weather coming, that's when we start that program, and we'll go pre-treat those roads. So the minute the sun hits it, things break up. And you'll notice, we did receive quite a few calls about people thinking roads weren't plowed. But that was coming out of that cold snap to the warm spell where the roads did break up. So the material that we're using absolutely did its job. That's when we go and then slush those roads off, and we're back to bare pavements. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks. Any further questions, Councillor Cloutier?
Through you, Chair. I got three here that sure you could help us out with. Just want to know, I'll give them all 3D and you can probably cover them all. What are the lessons that we've taken from this winter? Okay, as far as anything that's come up that we've handled well and not handled? And are we considering any structural changes to improve service delivery for the next year? And what support would you need from us moving forward as a council to better service our constituents?
Through you, Chair. Great questions. Thanks for asking those. Now's my time to really go at this. I like this. Lessons learned. There's been a few. My first year at the helm too. I'll say that's one. But overall, it's been pretty good. I get to see firsthand what these guys go through, and I congratulate every one of them. But taking the time to do some preventative maintenance, we've had a hard time this winter. So we really have to try to find a way to work that into our schedule. so we can take a vehicle out of service and do more maintenance to it than just having to get it rolled out onto the road again. But it's been a challenge. So, you know, we've tasked some staff we got to find a way to do that. It helps our fleet, but again, it also reduces our service level. You know, when we're trying to take it out of the fleet to do some maintenance, staffing, you know, we are in a unionized environment. But outside of that, there's a lot more that's required. You know, we get into snow removal, there's a lot larger hours that need to work. So maybe looking at some contracted services to help us maintain the service level that we're trying to provide. Other than that, it's just trying to stay on par and trying to keep up with it. You know, we have a 3-shift program. I think it works well. Do we need more staff? Absolutely. In order to provide this, there is no downtime for them. There is no holidays for them during the winter months. They get worn out. That's when fleet starts to break down. Things get a little bit careless and safety kind of goes out the window. So we're really trying to stay on top of that. But it's just a revolving door, if I can say that. You know, the support that we need is I mean, you guys are already providing that. This council's done a great job. You do recognize what the staff do, so I appreciate that. But it's a hard thing to keep up with a lot of these service requests. And, you know, every time a phone call comes in and we're directed to go do something, it takes us away from our daily scheduled activities. So then we start to feel that we're more reactive than proactive. And that is the nature of the beast. It's a combination of reaction and proactive. We do have a duty to provide to the public, but we do have plans in place. There's systems in place for a reason, and these guys all know that, and that's what we try to follow going through. So I think the support from council's been there, but I will plant the ear that as we move on, it's staff's a big thing. You know, I have another report coming up for fleet. We had that at council as well. So you're doing your part by giving us the equipment. We got to do our part to run it and operate it. But from there, it's something that's going to be on the books and coming forward as we only continue to grow. So right now, some of the things, you know, we've got staff off. We've got part-timers that are no longer here or having a hard time to hold those jobs down in order to meet our full winter complement. So it's been a struggle that way. So staff, we're looking at other efficiencies. We've already started to look at that, you know, as we're going to slowly start winding out a winter. And hopefully we can bring something back in front of you for a more of efficient way of how we operate things. Of course, that's what we want to try to do every day. But right now it's the 3 shifts, I think, is exactly where we need to be. The numbers of staff for each shift, it's not quite there yet. You know, in the winter that we've had guys where they've had to work their full 13 allowable hours, 7 hours off, back to work another 13. And they've done that for, you know, you can do it for 7 days in a row. It's hard on them. So staffing's a big thing. And I give them credit for what they've done to date, but those are just some things that we're going to be bringing forward.
Thanks, Brandon. You're good, Councillor Cloutier?
Yes, thank you very much.
Councillor Schumacher?
Well, I had 3 as well, but Councillor Morrison asked my one about the really cold snow and blowing the sand around. So you did address it a bit, Brandon, but because we get calls, especially out in our area, the back roads are not one of the ones that we dig down to pavement or to bare, right? So just if you can explain a little why we have certain roads we have to get down to bare, and then some we leave, you know, a bit of snow on them, obviously, to cover. If you can explain that, because we get a lot of calls around that. Why aren't back roads all the way down?
Yeah, through your worship, that's another great question and a learning curve. You know, as mentioned before in the PowerPoint, it's we try to keep some of our priority routes, high traffic volume roads, steep roads, down to bare asphalt. That's a starting point for help with emergency services and compliant to our minimum maintenance standards. You're dealing with an asphalt surface versus a high float surface as well. So when you're in the rural road settings, they tend to be low volume roads, And with a surface of high float, it's important to keep it snow packed. So out there, when you're doing in the early months of your winter, you might get a snow where we have to have the slushers rolled back. So we're not digging up the high float. So the more of the snowpack, then you can leave your shoes on your slusher down and they can just plow that road comfortably. So it also protects the road, but it's based on our minimum maintenance standards, provincial regulation, it's not required to be bare pavement.
Thanks for that. And then lastly, as Chair of Community Services, we, like the Summit Center, operates 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's also the theater, MHP. How do you guys handle those sites to get them addressed, parking lot wise, all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. Our night crew deals with the parking lots. So we currently have, we have 4 slated bodies to work on night shift. We are down to 2. So every other weekend, there's 2 people on call. So night shift comes in at 8 p.m. and they're done at 4 a.m. And what their job details is parking lots and laneways. So the laneways that we have to be done by a pickup truck with a plow on the front. We can't get, like for example, Rice Lane. We can't get a plow truck down there. So not enough room to go down and turn around, has to be done by a plow truck. So that stuff's being done at night while there's no vehicles out and about. When our crews are called in on Saturday or Sunday, there'll be 2 people that will come in and do parking lots, but you might not see that till the nighttime. We do have a full road patroller who does patrol those. That'll determine whether or not they need to be done. One of the things I want to point out is there is no provincial regulation under the minimum maintenance standards for parking lots. Now, we do recognize that there is a level of service we want to provide for parking lots, and that'll be one of the other things that we do look at when we look at efficiencies, as per Councillor Cloutier's request. But that is one that's on our radar, and we'll be talking to the powers to be to see how we can work that out. But right now, it's 8-hour shifts, unless they're required to work more, and weekends it's only on an on-call basis. So.
Your worship.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. It's just a follow-up. Thank you, Brendan, for the report. All very useful. You made reference earlier when you were talking about staffing, and you said maybe looking at contracted services. I know we don't have nearly what we used to have, but we still, in significant weather events, do we use contracted services at all?
Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
So when we have significant weather events, so the purpose of a significant weather event is what it does is it takes the minimum maintenance standards and sets it aside. And it allows the municipality to continue to work at caution and are not really held liable to the response times laid out in the minimum maintenance standards. So if, the time that we declared it, we had a road patroller that was noticing that plow trucks were falling behind, the snow was coming down, we couldn't keep up. So what we did then was we can't meet our response time, so we declared. And depending on the severity of the significant weather event, we have called in contractors. One of the things we did this year is we called in contractors to do snow removal after the snow event because it didn't stop snowing. So when it doesn't stop snowing, we must still be on the road to plow, but yet we got nowhere to put the snow. So it was, we were getting it from both sides. But yeah, to answer your question, we do rely on them pretty heavily.
Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thanks, Chair, and thanks, Brandon, for your report. Really appreciate it. Just a comment. I've never liked the term minimum maintenance requirements. And so I know it's a term that we use here, and I know it's a term that municipalities use all the time. I think a lot of time it sounds like that we're doing the bare minimum. And sometimes I think that's where the public thinks where there's an issue. And anyway, I know that's not the case. I know our team works very hard at keeping the roads plowed and sanded and salted. But I just think at times the public misunderstands that term. So just a comment. I just wanted to mention it.
Thanks for that, Councillor Clark. Brandon?
Yeah, through you, Chair Fitzgerald. Just to comment to that, thank you for noticing that. I just want to point out the minimum maintenance standards, on the class of our roads, we have about 12 hours to respond to clean up our roads from the time that we hit our accumulation. Keep in mind, we're running 24 hours. We have far well exceeded the minimum maintenance standards of what's required from the province. So running 24 hours means that we do have staff available 24 hours to deal with any type of operation that comes before us in the winter. So I think that's a job well done from all of us. So just, if anybody's listening into this, I know we throw the minimum maintenance standards around, but at a bare minimum, that's what we need to achieve. But based on our current winter operations and the way that it's laid out, we far well exceed that. So kudos to everybody on that.
Thanks, Brandon. Councillor Schumacher.
Not necessarily for Brandon. Did we ever, I know we were going to look into, with us being northern now, are people allowed to have studded tires? Did we find anything out on that? No, we're not? No? Okay. Interesting.
Very interesting. Any further questions? Brandon, thanks for the very thorough report. And I guess my takeaway is that there's a lot of challenges with part-time and full coverage with staffing fatigue and equipment breakdowns and not enough time for preventative maintenance. So I won't ask for it today formally, but I'd love to see a report coming forward to relieve those stresses by potential of contractors or full-time staff. I think a lot of the feedback I get from the public about plowing and removal and high banks and everything is a direct result of those challenges. So again, great report, and keep up the good work, and make sure you tell everyone we appreciate their efforts.
Will do. Thank you.
Brandon, you're doing
Thank you.
next report. It's moved by Councilor Cloutier and seconded by Deputy Farmer. It's recommended that committee authorize that. I thought I had it on still. It is recommended that committee authorize staff to proceed with ordering one new plow truck in 2026 to meet the town's scheduled replacement for the 2027 winter season, up to $510,000 to be funded through the Fleet Capital Reserve. Brandon.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. I'm just going to start, and Shane apologizes for not being here today. He was out fighting a fire at midnight, so he is not in attendance today. So I'm going to do my best to step in his shoes, which he is a size 12, a little higher than mine. So what we're looking at here, this is very simple. We've done these reports before. We in our capital asset management plan, fleet replacement program, we are looking to obtain a new plow truck in 2027 based on the response times or delay times, about 10 to 12 months. We would like to just ask for permission to order the truck now. We are not purchasing the truck now. That won't be purchased until the correct budget year. That's slated in 2027. So we're just looking to order that truck so it can get in the queue and get built, and so we can have it for the delivery time of 2027. So that's basically where we're at. We did that same type of report for the other plow trucks that we had just received. So same formality.
Thanks, Brandon. And I'll go to questions. Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thanks, Chair. Very quickly, I'm not sure you can answer this, but is there any that when we approve our capital plans for replacement of plow trucks, et cetera, that they have to come here a year in advance, or can they just go ahead unless they're stepping outside those capital plans?
Sorry, do you want me to answer?
Director McKenzie,
Okay, sorry.
you have your mic on. Go
so-
ahead.
So we have to review or approve the budget each year. So if we're buying something outside of that budget, if we're buying something where the budget hasn't been approved, we don't have the authority to do that. So it's difficult to. I know there's been some talk about changing the policy, et cetera, but the policy would be for us to approve budget or approve the purchase of items that haven't been approved in the budget. So that's why these have come forward. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just that it's in the capital plan, right, as Brandon stated, so I'm just trying to make it easier on them to order sooner if they can, right?
Did you have further comments, Director McKenzie?
I was just going to say, I think it only happens with fleet sometimes, but I think that council would also want the opportunity to weigh in when we are making these advanced decisions, because there is a lot of purchases in there that are scheduled over 10 years. So I think you would want to make sure that these come forward. I think we only have a couple a year that come forward, if that. And maybe once things settle down, it will be less because the timing will be less. But I still think it's prudent for it to come to this council for approval.
Thanks for that, Director McKenzie. Councillor Cloutier?
Just a quick one, maybe. Put you back up again, Director McKenzie. Do we have to put a deposit down when we order a truck like that, like 10% or 20% or anything, or can we order it without a deposit?
Generally, we order it without a deposit. If there is a deposit that's required, then we do have to bring that forward for council to approve that.
Thanks for that. Any further comments or questions? I guess further to Deputy Mayor Armour's inquiry. Yeah, it would streamline things, but like Director McKenzie said, it's a couple times a year or 3 times a year that we're here asking for this, and it's a small report process and a limited amount of time here to follow the process. We do have a 2-year budget, though. So we can incorporate that in the advanced order.
So for 2025-26, this is the second year of the multi-year budget. So we can look at incorporate, and then in 27 we're doing a single year, and then moving to multi-year after that. So we could incorporate that discussion as part of the budget process and our policy going forward for sure.
Okay, so we'll revisit that when we have the opportunity. Perfect. Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. And I just want to say through you that I have no problem with reports like this coming. Further to what Deputy Mayor Armour said, we could streamline it, but you know what? We're here, and I would much rather read the report, understand what we're purchasing and why we're doing it ahead of time, or if we're doing a tender. So I have no problem with it coming to us earlier. So it's just a comment.
Thanks. Any for Councillor Schumacher?
Not a question, just a comment. Do we name our plow trucks? Like, can we do a public thing? I mean, I think Hamilton has a Snowy one, Kenobi, and they have like we buy a new one, let's put it out to the public to name it. Why not? It would be fun.
Brandon?
Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. No. But not to say, all jokes aside, I know staff have brought that up before. There's people that have painted slushers before. Different municipalities have done things. We do have a great group of people down there that would, could have some fun with that. Some things to point out. We have gone to some schools and done some educational programs already this winter with our plow trucks, and the kids have loved it. But yeah, you want to name them? Let's go. Just not crash or anything like that.
We'll revisit that. If there are no further questions or comments, I'll call the question. All in favor? All in favor? Thank you, everyone. It's carried. Thank you, Brandon. All right, we're welcoming Tina to join Brandon. And this is for information only. And it's a report Ops 2026-9 Macaulay Robertson Diamond F lights. Welcome, Tina.
Thank you. Good morning. And thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Through you, Councillor Fitzgerald. So Brandon and I are here this morning to bring you information from last month for Diamond F lights. So I'm just going to give you some liability of what we got back. So since we are aware of the safety hazard, If a claim should come in about poor lighting, we are going to have a hard time defending the claim. There are options that they gave us: adding lighting, completing a full lighting upgrade, and limiting evening use until we have this resolved. Taking proactive steps will reduce risk and strengthen the town position for a claim. So before I hand it over to Brandon to talk about the photometric study, I did reach out. It's going to take about 16 weeks for the poles to come if we do go that route. Once the poles are here, it will take about 2 weeks. So we could do some prepping beforehand. Then it will take about 2 weeks to hook everything up. So we're looking at probably July, just giving a heads up. Also, Deputy Armour talking about the parking lot last month. We can always put a spotlight on the pole at base 3, could shine to the parking lot. But I have made note, and I think Macaulay later on in the future or in the 2027 capital, we should be looking at Macaulay for lighting for parking lots. As you have seen down there, the parking is all over the place. It needs to be proper with proper lighting in a parking lot. A lot of people use that area and it's full, and come weekends, nobody knows where to park. So that's a totally different topic, but I just want to throw that out. In the motion, I did not put the extra $600 because I just got that this morning. But if that's something you want to consider, I'm more than happy to put that on the third post. So at this time, I'm going to turn it to Manager Hall to talk about the photometric design.
Thanks, Tina. Manager Hall.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald, and thanks, Tina. If you guys can please turn to drawing L0 on your agenda items. If you can, you'll notice that on these drawings, so what the measurements for lighting on ball diamonds is in foot candles. I can't explain it any further than foot candles, but that's what it's at. The design was based on it's a 50-30 split is the design. So the numbers that you see represent the infield needs to be lit up to 50 and the outfield is lit up to 30. So on drawing LO, which was the design, so in through the review of the photometrics by Dawson Electric, they took the design and you can see that the infield is at 50 and the numbers in the outfield are representing around 30, but you're going to notice behind the backstop, so on your map in front of you, you'll see in the red and the blue that there's no numbers in there because it was designed for infield play, not the total playing area. So your next drawing at L1 is Dawson's took it and did, through their module, they did a design to make sure that they were on par for what was done in the design. And you'll see that there are numbers allocated in the foul area, and those numbers are nowhere near being at 50. So what that said in the analysis is that it's insufficient for the total playing area, not just the infield playing area. So the areas that need to be lit up, you can clearly see, are in behind the backstop and up the sides of the foul lines. So the request of additional lighting that's the area that it's for. So again, it's a 50-30 split. Infield is at 50, outfield is at 30, and the infield playing area or infield foul area doesn't meet the requirements for the infield lighting at 50. So hopefully that kind of explains that a little bit better.
Thanks, Brandon. Comments, questions? Councillor Morrison.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. I just want to thank staff for everything you've done on this. It came up as a potential safety issue, but we didn't really know. And I think it was a suggestion to get this study done. I love that we're going to fix it. If anything, the foul area is more important because that's where you can run right into the fence, right? So keeping our kids safe and getting better lighting, I'm fully in favor.
Thanks, Councillor Morrison. Any further comments or questions? Councillor Renwick.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. I'm really on the fence with this one. No pun intended, no. And I just struggle with the fact that we have spent so much money on these fields. And we did a light study, we put the lights in there. I guess I'm struggling with the fact that it does say on this report here that if you look at this area is a little shaded, not a big issue with the players, and the separate price would be preferred to illuminate. So it's not completely in the dark. There's light there. So are we being forced to change, like to add more lighting there because of a potential insurance issue? And I'm not in favor of making decisions because we have a gun to our head, or that we're being forced to do this. I'm not in favor of this. And we have spent, like I said, so much money on these fields. There are other organizations that have no lights at all. So I'm not in favor of this, basically. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for those comments. I'll go to your worship and then followed by Councillor Cloutier.
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald, and I absolutely concur with Councillor Renwick. The unfortunate thing is we did ask for the study, and now the study is saying if you don't do this, we could end up, as you say, we are kind of forced because of this, and we do know we live in a litigious society, and it's unfortunate that that's the way it is. And I hear what Councillor Morrison is saying. This is really important for the safety of our kids who are using it. And so if there is any doubt, this will certainly remove that doubt because it will make it brighter in those areas where it currently isn't. So I feel like my back is against the wall and I'm going to vote in favor of it.
Thank you, worship. Councillor Cloutier and then Councillor Schumacher.
Through you, Chair. I just want to know, like, we spent all the money, as Councillor Renwick said. Why is this coming to us this year? Like, why in the original study, when it was built, wasn't it picked up then? And we could have made changes then. That's all I'm asking. And like, do we have to change poles, or maybe we just change the lights that are already illuminating in that direction? Can we just not change the lights on the existing poles rather than putting all new poles in and everything? And like as Councillor Renwick said, we spent a lot of money over there, and there's lots of facilities without lights. They have been playing on it for how many years now? 3? Yeah, so almost 3 years they've been playing there, and there's been no incidences. So tough one.
Thanks for that, Councillor Cloutier. Do you
I'll
respond to that?
through you, Chair Fitzgerald. Yeah, the original design, what we have right now is 2 electrical companies. One saying that the infield playing area is sufficient. The other one is saying you need to include the total playing area, which includes foul. So that's the discrepancy that we're at. So when we put the RFP out, it was we asked for what we needed, and the design came back stamped by electrical engineer that this is sufficient lighting for in-play baseball. I took that as sufficient and met the requirements of what we were looking for. Then complaints come along, and we are left with, we got a second opinion, and it was different. So that's the discrepancy that we're at today. And yeah, I mean, that's all I can provide.
Yeah, just before I go to Councillor Schumacher, who was next, I think Deputy Mayor Armour was next. Who is, or where are the complaints coming from, I guess would be my question. Is it from one particular user group, or is it from all user groups? Councillor Morrison, you'd like to respond?
Yeah, I can feel that because I was the one that fielded the complaints. So it was 3 separate teams. Our own local group, Joe from the Outlaws in Bracebridge, complained that when it first went up, they thought it was inadequate. And of course, the scope, you got to remember the scope of the project only involved in between the baselines. If you read up, do a bit of research, and even in the study, it says there's a primary playing area includes the foul territory. So it probably should have been done from the beginning. But there was 2 teams, one from Orangeville and one from, I think, maybe Newmarket, that played a Friday night game there and said they wouldn't play at night on that diamond again, compared to all the diamonds that they've been to. Joe said the same thing, and then the local Hornets team were complaining as well. So for me, it's not even about liability is definitely there. It's going to be hard to defend yourself if we've made it where it's unsafe and then something happens. But my thing is not even about a lawsuit, like just about a kid getting hurt. That area between the baseline and the fence is not lit up as much as it's supposed to be by standards. So if it's not, and we say that's okay, I just don't see how we could even possibly think about that as an option. So, but that's where the complaints came from.
Thanks for that. And I believe Councillor Schumacher was next, followed by Deputy Mayor Armour.
Yeah, so I've concurred with a lot around the table here about how much we've spent there, but I do see that. So I guess my question to Tina is, she's saying if we don't get the polls until July, then like May, June practice or games would be ended at a certain time at night?
Through you, Councillor Fitzgerald, correct. So we will make sure that customer service lets our ball users know that at a certain time we'll have to cut the diamond off until the lights are put in place.
Okay. And currently soccer doesn't play at night because they don't have lights, is that correct?
Through you, Councillor Fitzgerald, correct.
Okay, so I know
Not
they
that I'm
want
aware
some.
of.
They want some too, so.
Okay. Before I go to Deputy Mayor Armour, was there someone who wanted to comment back there? Director Babineau?
I did, if you don't mind. I thought I'd just add 2 cents from the rental point of view. The liability is an issue. We've put that on the table. We will now have to, at dusk, eliminate bookings from that field going forward until this is repaired. From Brandon's illustration there, I just wanted to point out the spot that is not lit is the home plate. There's 3 people standing there. So the likelihood of injury, you've got your ump, you've got your back catcher, and you've got your batter, and you've got a ball coming. So this is the only hard ball diamond that we have. They use it evenings, weekends for their tournaments, so right into the evening, as late as they can play quite often. So my support is in to replace the lights, as the report states, for our user groups to continue the rentals that we have currently booked, and we'll have to adjust accordingly as it is.
Okay, so just to confirm, you're feeling that the direction you have to take is to mitigate the risk. We won't do night rentals for hardball, correct?
Anybody using the diamond after dusk, yes.
Okay, so appears our backs are against the wall. Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thanks, Chair. Couple questions, actually. The first question is, the new lights we put in, how do they compare to the old lights that have been there for 20 years prior to that?
I'm not the light expert, to be honest with you. But the lights that we used to have, you can't get them no longer. And the lights that we have at A, B, and C at the moment that we just put in 2019, 2020, those ones are no longer existed. So, but I can't speak on how it all affects.
Okay, I think what I was trying to explain, that probably the lighting's in play area is probably lit up, and it's probably the same situation we're in today. So my second question, is there any other options than spending $70,000? Can we not just put some types of other lights on the current poles to light up those areas to make it safe?
So there are different options, but at the end of the day, so we did options A to D, but it's adding a light here, adding a light there, where option D gives you everything, so everything is all lit up. So behind the backstop, nothing's going to be able to face that 100% without putting the poles there, because there is no poles behind the backstop at all. So to cover that area of play, we have to put some poles there, because we looked at every option possible. So
I just, when you look at the diagram, those poles look awful close to each other to light up just the back area, when you think maybe one pole would do the same thing with the proper lights on up. Just curious.
Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Chair Fitzgerald. Well, the way that I understand it is you're only putting 2 poles in behind the backstop to light up the backstop, but you're also putting lights on the additional side poles in order to light up the foul line anywhere, I'm going to say north of third base and first base. So you'd be putting not new poles up, but you're putting lights on those existing fixtures, and then just the 2 poles in the backstop. And the way that I understand the drawing is those lights from the the back will not have enough to shine to the backstop. So that's why there's one that's required at the backstop. So in talks with the engineer, it seems to be the most appropriate solution rather than having to remove the poles in the back and get them slated to a different location. I think if the existing locations of the poles that were installed would be in a little bit of a different location, if the total, or whatever you want to call it, the total playing area, considering the foul line, might have been rejigged, if you know what I mean there.
Follow up or?
Yeah, well, I can support the lights down the foul line because I think that's important. Kids do play the ball there. There are shadows. I played baseball for many years and you could get injured. But I'm just struggling with those 2 poles behind home plate that are that's the expensive part of the whole project, is it not?
For you, Councillor, correct.
I don't know who was next. I saw a flurry of hands. I think it was Councillor Clark and then Councillor Cluche.
Thanks, Chair. So I would support some kind of temporary fix. I might support Councillor or Deputy Armour's suggestion about the foul lines, but I'm not going to support what's being asked. I'm not going to support another unbudgeted request on this one here. And as a side, I would like to say I have a son who plays for one of the Hornets rep teams, and he's a back catcher, and usually, you know, plays a full 9 innings behind home plate, and never on Diamond F, and has never once complained about the lighting behind home plate. So I'm just putting that out there.
Councillor Cluche?
Through you. Just wondering, like the big costs of poles. We put in concrete poles before and to replace the other ones. Are we putting in concrete or wood poles? So if we are putting in concrete, why can't we go to wood poles? Hydro One has wood poles in the ground for 80 years. And if we can cut the cost of putting in wooden poles that are quite sufficient as the concrete. Yes, the concrete ones last a long time, but at this point in time with the money that we're putting here, why can't we put in wooden poles? And not only that, I'm sure we could get wooden poles in a couple of weeks and this problem can be solved right away, not waiting till the end of July.
Response, I think Brandon would like to respond. Thanks, Brandon.
Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. The difference comes down to, the difference of a hydro pole to a baseball pole is the height. I have never seen a wooden pole that tall that could go there. So if you have, great, pass that on. Happy to look into that for sure. But my first initial thought is it's absolutely the height of the poles in order to get the lighting up.
Okay, thank you. Any further comments or questions? Deputy Mayor Armour?
Thanks, Chair. I'd like to put an amendment on the floor that we take part of, I think it's option 2. We light up our foul lines and we don't put the poles in at this time and do a reevaluation after this summer.
Okay, I have the motion on the floor and Councillor Stone, we just second that. I guess before we put the motion around, if we do a partial fix, I feel like Director Babineau is going to be in the same situation because we haven't mitigated the full risk, so we're not going to accomplish night rentals. Is that correct, Director Babineau?
Julie and I are just over here chatting. I think we need to confer with BFL and our risk management coordinator or manager, as well as our customers. So we're going to need to circle back on that.
Okay, so Deputy Mayor Armour?
Well, the reason I'm putting this motion on the floor is that I'm sure you can expedite those lights along the foul lines rather quickly. And then we can actually see how well it's lit up outside the diamond when those are put in place. And there's also a delay on getting these poles anyhow. They won't be in until July. So I think just to get things moving, get those lights on, and then we just have another look at it.
Okay, that sounds to me like we're putting a Band-Aid on the situation, and we're gonna have to reassess the lighting, do another study to mitigate the risk and get compliance with our insurance company. So I don't think this sounds like a fix to me. Councillor Morrison?
Yeah, I respect where Deputy Mayor is coming from on that, but the study's been done. The study says we need the lights there. For us to then do a half fix, I don't think we'd be comfortable renting out the space. We lose August, September, October rentals. It would just cost us more than the savings. And I respect that Councillor Clark's son plays there and has not had any issues, but that's not been everybody's experience. It's a lot of other people are saying different. And I think at the end of the day, we need to remember that this came in about $85,000 under budget when it first came in. We're spending less than that to make it what it should have been in the first place. And we've been made aware that under current conditions, it doesn't meet specs. So I don't know how we could even think about not doing it. I just don't understand why that's an option.
Thanks, Councillor Morrison. Mayor Alcock?
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. And I I feel the same way as what you actually already referred to, which is if we go forward with this amendment, we're still in the situation. And even though we don't have a confirmed answer from staff on this, and I understand why not, you have to do your due diligence. I suspect we will be back in the same situation, which is we have to stop playing at dusk because of what our study is currently telling us. So as long as I know that, then it is like putting a Band-Aid on a situation. And I understand the sentiment. There's part of me that supports it, but if it's not achieving what this report is setting out to do, then I just think we're avoiding the decision that we need to make.
Okay, so I currently have a motion on the floor and it's seconded. Is anyone else proposing a different motion? I guess would be my question. This report is for information only. Yes. We have different movers still.
Does he know? Okay,
I
good.
just have to change the movers on this motion.
No.
Okay. Moved by Helena Renwick and seconded by Dan Armour. Where's
Cha-
staff?
Or Councillor Fitzgerald, can you speak into your mic?
I can.
Yeah.
Thank
Point
you.
of order, just, could I just, I don't want to be the mover for that motion. Somebody else move it?
I'm going to go back to Dan Armour as the mover and Councillor Stone as the seconder. Thank you, Councillor Renwick, for okay. Is everyone ready? I have moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Bob Stone, where staff were directed to conduct a photometric study at Macaulay Robertson Recreation Park to determine if any lighting concerns existed. And whereas the study completed in October 25 confirmed that while Diamond F lighting meets the standards for the in-play area, non-playing areas require additional illumination. Now, therefore, it is recommended that lighting improvements at baseball Diamond F at the Macaulay Robertson Recreation Park be completed to improve safety and accessibility. And further that, the estimated capital cost of $70,000 to be funded from the development charges, DC, of $10,850, and the remaining to come from the Parks Capital Reserve, $59,150. Very good.
If I could just ask a clarifying question to Deputy Mayor Armour. You were referring to option 2 when we spoke about your amendment. Do you mean option B in the drawing that was shared on the screen?
Could you put up option B on the screen? Like, did that have a light with the poles behind it? No, they all have poles, I believe. They all had poles. So I was looking at option 2, but removing the 2 poles, right? And the reason I'm doing it, I feel there's other options out there instead of paying $40,000 for 2 cement poles to light up non-playing area. It just says in that motion, non-playing area. So.
Okay. Do you need a moment, quick voice? Okay. Fortunately, I am visually challenged, so you'll have to make that bigger for me. Okay. Moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Bob Stone. Whereas staff were directed to conduct a photometric study of Macaulay Robertson. I read the report, so I'll just go through the changes. Now, therefore, it is recommended that lighting improvements at Baseball Diamond F. Macaulay Robertson Recreation Park be completed in accordance with option 2 as attached to report ops 2026-4 to improve safety and accessibility. And further that the estimated capital cost of up to $70,000 be funded from development charges, DCs 10850, and the remaining come from Parks Capital Reserve, and it's $59,150. And further that the lighting improvement be reevaluated following the installation outlined in option 2. Questions, comments? Deputy Mayor Armour, followed by...
This was the amendment, right? Yeah,
Yes.
so I
Mayor
believe, sorry, Jessica, I wanted no polls at all. So the estimated capital cost of $70,000 to be funded from development charges, that number shouldn't be there. And I believe under option 2, it talks about the 2 light poles, which I don't. I think we just put lighting on the foul lines. I believe they're floodlights that you're talking. And we removed the 2 poles. There won't be any costing yet because I don't believe you broke the costing down that way. Or do you?
Brandon?
Through you, Chair Fitzgerald. So the way that this works is there was 3 quotes received for a total of the 70,000. So the install of 2 45-foot concrete poles at the backstop to be eliminated, that's the one that you would like to see removed. Then there is, in our quotes, we have add floodlighting to the first 2 poles behind the dugouts, and the other one was to add floodlighting to the last poles behind the foul line, which are towards the outfield. So for the poles behind the dugout, it was 13,557. And to add floodlighting to the last poles behind the foul line to eliminate foul ball area better, the cost was 11,252.
Okay, your worship, you were next, but I think we need to
Take
have
a
a 5-minute break.
that-
Let's take a 10-minute biological break.
Okay, good.
So the clerk can have a break as
Thank you.
well.
That's what I want.
And we'll move forward
So
with
the
it.
total
Now,
value
Do we have everyone back? We do. All right. Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thanks, Chair. After discussion with a few other members, we come up with, I'm thinking about withdrawing my amendment to the motion and putting a new motion on the floor that we defer this, because after looking at some different quotes, we could light up certain areas of the diamond, including the backstop, for a total of $26,000 compared to $70,000. So I'd like to defer this to next month so Tina and Brandon come back with multiple options for us to decide on what's best.
Okay. Thank you for that. I believe, Councillor Stone, you were the seconder on the original.
I will second the removal of the existing amendment and second the new amendment to come back to defer it till next month.
Okay. Questions? I have a motion. I'm sorry, Councillor Morrison.
Thank you. I love the idea of trying to find more options, but I guess question to Brandon and Tina, is there any option that doesn't involve using poles and the backstop? Because if we delay and we have to order poles in 90 days, it just means we miss a month of rentals.
Okay, through you, Councillor Fitzgerald. So we do have some options with us. So there are options that have just lights on the posts that are existing right now. There is option just to put posts behind the backstop only. And there's just another one is doing it all. So those are our options.
Follow up.
And we only did the
So,
full amount.
so that's option A, B, and C.
Correct.
And what we're considering, but I'm wondering if we do look at different options on how to install, is there ever a scenario where we could light up? Because keep in mind, I want everyone to know, if you look at the numbers on that chart, foul territory needs to be 30 feet candles and it's at like 15, 13, 17 all around. So we're only like 15, 13 off on where it needs to be. Home plate's supposed to be 50 and we're at 13 to 16. So we're way off. So I'm wondering, to get to the 50, is there any way to do it without putting poles up, or we're going to have to do poles anyway, in which case should we just order the poles?
Brandon?
Through you, Councillor Fitzgerald. I can't answer that today. And that's something we'd obviously have to check back with the electricians. There's a lot of moving parts on how to do that. What I can answer today is that when this did get brought back to us about looking into how it can be further lit up, we did go back to the electrical company, and this was their best course of action to put forward to light that up. So I can share that with you today.
Your Worship?
Thank you, Chair Fitzgerald. So I'm following on that train of thought, and I understand we're putting you on the spot today, and that you can't. But it sounds like and I'm now asking both of you, if there had been other options without the poles, but doing the same thing, bringing it up to the 50 that's required, would that have been in the package, or it's just there may be other options that we didn't consider, given we were fixed on having poles?
To you, Chair Fitzgerald. Again, another question I think is, I'd be walking the fine line there. We can definitely go back and ask for that. We did say, what's a solution? That was a solution that they brought forward. So I can't say they ran through a bunch of other options to present that one to us or not.
Okay, so if I may, just a quick follow-up, and I appreciate that. So really what I'm doing is I'm trying to, if I support the idea of deferring this by a month, it is feasible to consider that there might be another option that will decrease the overall cost. Might be, but we're not sure.
To you, Chair Fitzgerald. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, it's
So it's a bit of a risk doing that.
There is a bit of a risk with it, yes.
Because to Councillor Morrison's point, we're delaying it by a month. If we need to end up ordering the poles anyway, then we're delaying it by a month. So, okay, thanks.
Okay. So I'm going to call it there. I feel, Councillor Clucci, you had a question, and I'll allow Councillor Morrison one more.
Just sorry, Sure. I just want to go back, if we're going back and we're doing the price point, I would like a price with 45-foot wooden poles rather than 45-foot concrete poles. There is a savings there that we could maybe take that little money and move it on to a different area in the project, but I'd just like to see the two costs of breakdown.
Councillor Morrison, final comment or question?
Yeah, I'm really hoping we don't defer this. I think that'd be pretty unfortunate. I just want to point out again, we were made aware of deficiencies at the Diamonds for lighting. We didn't have the expertise to say yes or no. We all agreed at this table to do a study to find out if it was a problem. Not only did we find out it was a problem, it looks like if the numbers are 13 behind home plate and should be 50, it's a massive problem, not just a small one. And what we're arguing over here is $26,000. You can imagine a lawsuit would be much more than $26,000. And it's proven right here that we were made aware that that's the most dangerous part of the ball diamonds. So going with a half measure, looking for other options that, it's feasible, but there was no indication from Manager Hall that there is an option. So a month from now, 6 weeks from now, 8 weeks from now, where are those polls? We missed the entire season. We missed 3 tournaments. We missed 30 days times 3 hours, 4 hours a night of rentals. I'm shocked that we're arguing over 26 grand to fix the most dangerous part of the ball diamonds at a time when that actually came in under budget. And yes, we spent a lot of money, but that's irrelevant to this situation. It doesn't matter. We could have spent 10 million there. It doesn't matter. This is a one-off situation where we've been made aware these diamonds are unsafe by the engineer. If we don't trust the engineer and our staff, Director Babineau has indicated that it should be done before we allow rentals. I'm just shocked that we're having the discussion, but that's just my thoughts.
Okay. It's been very interesting. I appreciate everyone's input. I'll read the motion. Moved by Dan Armour, seconded by Bob Stone. It is recommended Report Ops 2026-4 Macaulay Robertson Diamond F lights be postponed until March General Committee for staff to investigate alternative solution and options for risk mitigation. I will allow one last round of comments or questions. I'm seeing none. I will call the question. All in favor? 6. Okay. Opposed? That carries. Thank you, everyone. That wasn't easy. And bear with me for a second here. I am going to pass this over to Deputy Mayor Armour for Developmental Services.
Thanks, Councillor Fitzgerald. Appreciate that. We had 6.4.1. We have Director McKenzie come to the table. I do have a motion. It's recommended that staff be directed to implement an online payment solution for all payments through Cloud Permit with an approximate cost of $25,000. And further, that all implementation fees associated with this initiative be funded proportionately through building, planning, and short-term rental services as detailed in Report DEV 2026-19. Oh, and we also have our Chief Building Official, Mr. Nagy.
I brought some support with me for this report. So this report recommends implementing an online payment solution through Cloud Permit using Paymentus for development services payments, including building permits, development charges, planning applications, short-term rental license applications, and penalties. This would modernize payment options, improving accessibility, and support council's direction to recover credit card processing costs. So currently, payments must be made in person by mail or phone, and the town absorbs all credit card fees, with the exception of the building department ones, which are allocated back to that department. Paymentus was identified as the best option for integrating online payments with Cloud Permit, despite the limited integration options with our town financial system. This proposal includes a phased rollout. So this is starting with the building, planning, and short-term rental, and town hall counter payments. So online and in-person credit card payments would be subject to processing fees, while debit, cash, and credit or check payments would remain fee exempt. So that would be for all of town hall. The one-time implementation cost is approximately $25,000, and it would be funded proportionally through the related reserves for building planning and short-term rental. So no ongoing system fees are anticipated, and it's anticipated that this will significantly reduce the town's annual credit card merchant processing costs.
Thanks, Ed. Mr.
Yeah,
Nagy?
if I could add to that, and thank you, Julia, for providing that. I did want to make note to council that this has been on the docket since we adopted Cloud Permit, and contractors have been asking for online payment allowances as they go through the process and actually submit the permits. It'll make it a lot more fluid. We have noted at our annual meetings that if we go down this route, there may be some of these additional credit card fees associated with it. The response back that we got from the majority of them is we're paying by credit card. Typically, we're getting points based on the costing of it, so they aren't too worried about these fees or anything like that. But I just wanted to make council aware before they voted on it. So yeah.
Thanks for that. Do I have any questions? I have one question. I'm just curious, how many people actually pay their taxes with a credit card? Because it could make a huge difference on how much they're paying, right?
Right now, you can only pay your taxes with a credit card online, and that's done through the same provider, the Paymentus. So we don't actually see the fees for that. It would just come through. So I don't have the number of how many people actually do it or not, but at the present, we don't let people come into the counter and pay their taxes by credit card. This will allow us to. We'll be charging them a fee if they want to do that.
All right, I'm good with that. Good, huge savings there. Any other questions? Well, let me call the question. All those in favor of the motion? And that carries. Thanks very much.
Thank you all very much.
So now I have our Chief Building Official, Mr. Nagy, here. It's recommended that I have a motion here moved by Councillor Clark, seconded by Councillor Renwick. It's recommended that committee approve the draft shared services agreement bylaw as attached to report DEV 2026-20, and further that bylaw 2019-121 be repealed, and further that the shared services agreement bylaw be forwarded to council for final approval, and further that the mayor and clerk are authorized to execute these reciprocal building shared service agreements with the towns of Lake Bays and Township of Perry and Township of Armour. Where's yours?
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Sorry that was a mouthful, but this is very important in that, our shared servicing agreement we do value with the three other townships. What this is obviously amalgamating them all into one. That way we aren't, it's kind of a cleanup aspect. Attached to the actual agreement is a list of all the inspectors that would be able to be called upon from the other townships should we require them, and then the reciprocating agreements obviously would be named and included our town staff. So I would like to note that the town staff that are provided by Huntsville aren't all of them in its entirety. It's usually myself, my deputy, and then we typically include one of our inspectors. And between the three of us, we can definitely cover off the other townships if there is that need. We have been working closely with the Township of Armour more recently because they have required our services, and but I'm happy to say that they have moved ahead with getting a building official, so that will be scaled back, and we can deal with our own matters with respect to closing off building permits as well as our reinspection program, right? So with that, any questions, happy to answer.
Thanks for that. Do we have any questions? Mayor Alcock.
Thank you, Chair Armour. No question, just a comment. I absolutely support this, and I'm happy to see that it's being harmonized. I think sharing services with our neighboring municipalities just always makes sense, and on so many different levels. So Thank you for bringing this forward.
Any other questions? I'll call questions. All those in favor? And that carries. Thanks, everyone. Now I'm going to turn the chair over to Councillor Morrison.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor Armour. And we're going to start with Tracy Miller reporting on 6.5.1, and it's regarding report number Corp 2026-6, Muskoka Shrine Club flag raising clock tower request. And I do have a motion moved by Mayor Alcock, seconded by Councillor Stone. It is recommended that committee approve the request to amend the Appendix 2 of the Town of Huntsville Flag Protocol and Clock Tower Lighting Policy to include the addition of Muskoka Shrine Club to the list of pre-approved organizations. Take it away.
Good morning, and through you, Chair. Staff have reviewed the application submitted by the Muskoka Shrine Club. As you are aware, our current policy outlines the criteria for use of the community flag poles, pardon me, and the lighting of the clock towers. Or clock tower, gosh, I wish we had more than one. As noted in my report, this organization falls within the criteria. So under continue to support community events that foster a sense of belonging and engagement, reinforcing long-standing partnership with volunteer groups and organizations as well. So staff feel that this application does align with our policy, and therefore I do recommend that we go forward with it. Also too, I have noted that there are no conflicts with any other organizations. And I'm here for questions.
All right, thank you very much. Great presentation we had from them earlier. It's exciting that they're coming to our town. Any questions or comments on that? Pretty easy. All right, call the question. All those in favor? Okay. That carries. All right, thank you so much. And you're sticking around for the next one regarding report number Corp 2026-7, Flag Protocol and Clock Tower Lighting Policy Amendment. And I do have a motion moved by Councillor Fitzgerald, second by Councillor Clark. It is recommended that committee approve the amendment to the Flag Protocol and Clock Tower Lighting Policy attached as Schedule A as outlined in report Corp 2026-7.
Okay, well, good morning again. And through you, Chair, I feel the report really speaks for itself, and I've really nothing to add other than I hope you accept what we've suggested in our evaluation, and I'm here for questions.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions on this one? Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thanks very much. Not so much a question. Just want to say I'm glad to see that they don't have to come and do a deputation or presentation, that they can just submit a letter. That's a lot easier for a lot of groups, I bet. Thanks for the report.
Yeah, thank you. Very good point. We've heard that some people don't want to or don't feel comfortable coming to talk to all of us. Very nervous for whatever reason. They obviously don't know us. So with that, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Okay. And that carries. Thank you so much. All right, now we're bringing down our Economic Development Officer, Lauren McDermott, to speak about 6.5.3 regarding report number Corp 2026-8, the Healthcare Attraction and Retention Update. And I do have a motion moved by Councillor Stone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Armour. Whereas through resolution 127-25, staff were directed to investigate both short and long-term options to support continued physician attraction and retention efforts and report back to committee. And whereas initial research and discussions with community healthcare partners identified various short and long-term options. And whereas the procedural bylaw was amended through resolution GC 6-26 to include advisory panels, and therefore be it recommended that committee approve the creation of the Huntsville Healthcare Advisory Panel, HHAP, and further that the HHAP terms of reference, including the mandate and composition attached as Appendix A to report Corp 2026-8 be approved. All right, Lauren, take it away.
So through you, Chair Morrison. So this report provides an update of the town's physician incentive program and provides recommendations for options related to healthcare attraction and retention in Huntsville. As of February 2026, the Huntsville unattached patient waitlist sits at approximately 5,500. And some of the physicians who have signed the physician incentive agreement are still in the process of rostering patients. So a further 600 are expected to be rostered to one of these physicians in the near future. This leaves approximately 4,900 unattached patients. So it's important to note that the Algonquin Family Healthcare team is directing new patients to register on Healthcare Connect list and are contacting those on the new Algonquin Family Healthcare, are contacting those on the Algonquin Family Healthcare team list to make sure they are registered on the Healthcare Connect list. The transition to the Healthcare Connect list was not specifically mandated by the province, but it's more beneficial for both the patients and providers to use this list going forward. You now actually no longer have to de-roster from an existing physician to be on the Healthcare Connect list, which is a new and exciting update. And then the Algonquin Family Healthcare team is contacting patients on this list for the Algonquin Family Healthcare team in order of seniority to advise them to register for the Healthcare Connect list. So local doctors and nurse practitioners will use both waitlists to attach patients. And then in regards to our town incentive, currently 3 more physicians are in the process of reviewing the agreement to sign. So if signing commences as planned, the program will have brought in 9 family physicians so far. So as part of recommending short and long-term options, a variety of research was conducted, including discussions with other types of recruitment models, such as the South River Macro Medical Center, Muskoka Lakes Health Hub Leasing, and the City of Cornwall's Medical Recruitment Task Force recommendations. As a result of the research outlined in the report, the establishment of a Huntsville Healthcare Advisory Panel, which we can call the HAP, is proposed to address the unattached patient waitlist and other community healthcare needs. This panel will help to provide collective guidance and expertise on healthcare attraction and retention initiatives, and the appendix is attached in the report with terms of reference and the recommended individuals on that panel. So I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Lauren. Awesome report. Lots of great information. Congratulations on having 3 more interested. We're almost at our goal of 10. So I'll go to Mayor Alcock to start, and then Deputy Mayor
Thank
Armour.
you, Chair Morrison. Just a quick comment. Again, a great report. Really good information, and I support this absolutely. I think having this advisory committee panel, whatever, makes all the sense in the world, and it looks like a fantastic makeup of the right people. I love the reference to other health services such as the hub and nurse practitioners, all of the things that we've talked about. So this is a great recommendation. Thanks for bringing it forward.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Armour.
Thanks, Chair. Just quickly, I don't know if you can answer this or not. With the new Healthcare Connect, do you think that's going to see a reduction in those patients on the wait list? Because I can imagine some are on multiple lists.
Through you, Chair Morrison. So right now it's a benefit that individuals are on 2 lists potentially, but the focus will be Healthcare Connect, and Healthcare Connect is supposed to have some kind of incentive that encourages physicians to take from that list or nurse practitioners. So we hope that that is the case, and time will tell.
All right.
Just a comment.
follow-up?
Hopefully we see that list go down from 3,900 people. So
Yeah, and just to follow up to that, so can they be on 2 locations under the Healthcare Connect? Do they have to just pick one? I wonder. Does anyone? Just one. So I think to your comment, I think you're right, Deputy Mayor Armour. It would take people off lists all over because there's probably duplicates all over. Okay, that's great news. Councillor Fitzgerald.
Thanks, Chair Morrison. Thanks for the report, Lauren. Great work you've been doing there, and I like the consideration of reaching out to other areas. I'm curious about, and this is news to me, based on the Rurality Index of Ontario and our IO score of 62, Huntsville does not qualify. Do you need 100 to qualify, or what's the parameter there?
So through you, Chair Morrison, I'm not sure on the specific criteria without further research on it, but it has more to do with like the number of population and how many people service. So in South River Macro, there's only 2 physicians there. So that's why they met that criteria score, whereas we have a larger group, we have a larger population.
Great.
So
I'm just curious if you can enlighten us with further information on that. It's nice to be back in with Northern status again. If the more information we know about it, I think the better off we are. So thanks, Lauren.
Awesome. Thank you, Councillor Fitzgerald. I'm going to go to Director Frabe for some comments.
Yeah, so I've kind of going back to the wait list, and I've got some more information about the rural northern physician group. So with the wait list, in conversations with the Algonquin Family Health team, they are going by order of seniority, kind of in chunks on their list to make sure that sort of there's some semblance of seniority on the Healthcare Connect when they're registering. And they have found actually when they're making these phone calls and contacting the people on the list, some people actually don't need to be on the list anymore. So it's kind of a culling process of going through that list. So there are indeed some patients of that 5,500. There are some that no longer need to be on the list. So it's a great process for the healthcare team to go through as well. With respect to the Rural Northern Physician Group Agreement, and that's the funding that South River Macker Medical Center has, that funding is specific for municipalities that have fewer than 7 physicians in total. So we don't, very clearly, we don't qualify for that funding. However, there are many other models with respect to medical centers and community health centers that will be on the agenda, or the intention is to have it on the agenda for this healthcare advisory panel to discuss further.
Great information. Thank you, Director Frame. Councillor Renwick and then Deputy Mayor Emmer.
Thank you, Chair Morrison. Thank you for the report, Lauren. Great things happening, obviously. How often do you see that this committee meeting? How often would they be meeting, on a monthly basis or a yearly basis?
Through you, Chair Morrison, I just have to pull up the appendix with the terms of reference, but I believe it is quarterly unless otherwise needed to discuss any items of topics or something of importance that we have to discuss, and we can join together.
Thank you. And Deputy Mayor Emmer.
Yeah, with Director Frame's comments here about the wait list, it's maybe we're not as bleak as we thought we were, especially since we brought on 6 and potentially another 9 doctors. Those numbers could really be reduced. So just a word to across the province who have been slamming Huntsville for this incentive program. It's working. So thanks again for the report.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor Emmer. Any other comments? Well, I want to follow up on Deputy Mayor Emmer's comment. That shows what when a council like ours decides we can do something. I remember at the debate for the council debate, I brought up mental health, healthcare, all this stuff, and I was approached by a well-known person afterwards, is that's provincial, you can't do anything. And we've proven, because our staff has worked so hard and we've agreed to try to go outside the box, that we now have 9 physicians pretty much signed up. And I think these numbers would be way worse if we didn't, because we had 4 or 5 retirements in the last little while. So thankfully we've dammed it up a little bit. Okay, so with that, I will ask the question. Ask the question, all in favor? Okay, and that passes. Thank you very much, Lauren. Okay, moving on to Director McKenzie coming up to give us report number Corp 2026-9, Investment Policy Statement Annual Review. And I do have a motion on this one as well. It is moved by Councillor Renwick, seconded by Mayor Alcock, that it is recommended that committee has reviewed the investment policy statement attached to report Corp 2026-9, and no changes are recommended at this time. And so moved by Councillor Renwick, seconded by Mayor Alcock.
I don't have anything further to add unless anybody has any questions.
It's all there. If there's any pressing questions, Director McKenzie can answer them. I don't think we do. All that work you put into that report. Okay, call the question. All in favor? That carries. Okay, and you're sticking with us for report number Corp 2026-10. It's Development Charges Interest Policy PDF. And I do have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Armour, seconded by Councillor Schumacher. It is recommended that Budget Financial 29 Development Charges Interest Policy be repealed. And further, that committee approve the amendments to Budget and Financial 12 Deferral of Development Charges as attached to Corp 2026-10.
Thank you, Chair Morrison. So this policy is being recommended to be removed to align better with Bill 23 and to simplify the town's approach to development charge deferrals. Changes to provincial legislation and the ability for charging interest on deferrals, and the ability to have alternative deferral options means that this policy no longer has the intended impact that it did when we originally had done it. So it may just be causing more confusion rather than clarity. There are a lot more options now for people to do deferrals under the Act, and under the Act that you cannot charge interest on those deferrals. So I can't speak for the rest of the Muskoka areas, but we have met as the treasurers group, and I think there's a consensus among our group that this is the direction that probably most will be recommending to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Director McKenzie. Any questions or comments on this one? Okay, with that, I'll call the question. All in favor? That carries. Okay, and lastly, Director Maxwell, will you be giving, oh, gonna skip that one for now? All right, so I'm gonna pass the chair back to Mayor Alcock, or you're gonna give a report on the shareholder?
I was happy to speak to this
Yeah,
report on
I
the
just asked
shareholder.
CEO Corey on it, so I
because-
just didn't know if it was your Director Maxwell.
Because unless Denise briefed you.
If you're
yeah,
prepared,
I'm
Mayor
happy
Alcock, you can
I'm
speak to
happy
that
do it.
item.
One, if I may, Chair Morrison, that would be great. Only our CAO prepared an excellent briefing note on this one this time, and for good reason. As everyone knows, we received a letter from Lakeland on February 4th, according to our note, that talked about the reduction in our dividend by 50% in 2026. So there was a special shareholders meeting that convened, and as you can imagine, everybody was concerned, partially because of the speed with which it happened and the lack of sort of notice. And it was final moment, and certainly from one shareholder's perspective, Bracebridge, they were quite aghast because they were in the middle of their budget process, and they're a much larger shareholder than we are in Huntsville. So lots of great discussion, but as our CIO highlighted, the three primary reasons was like a confluence of events, and it was the reduced generation revenues due to drought conditions in both years, 24 and 25, major equipment failure at the Centennial Station, so that was significant, and significant costs associated with the ice storm events, two of them, that we all know what happened last year. So as I said, it resulted in approximately $5.1 million lower revenues, and that they had not anticipated. So consequently, in February, they told us, we're going to commit to providing, in Huntsville's case, 50%, which means $212 instead of what we ordinarily get, 420. Oh, yeah, I forgot a few zeros. 424,000, which is what we ordinarily would get. On a promising note, they also said that they intend in 2027 to restore the overall $2 million dividend to all of their shareholders. We did ask the question why they, given all of these events, and they're just hopeful. Part of the reason is on their service side, with all of their internet work and doing all of that, that part of their business is doing very well. And it's growing, and that's where they intend to move. They've rationalized a lot of their operations, looking for efficiencies. They didn't hire as many people that they thought they might hire, so they continue to work on those efficiencies to ensure that they're not in the same position again. So they are very hopeful that they bring that back. One of the consequences or outcomes of the emergency shareholders meeting is that moving forward, not that we weren't engaged before, but it was unanimous around the table that we want to have more frequent meetings with the Lakeland Board and be brought up to speed, perhaps quarterly, that we actually meet in person, whereas in the past it hasn't been that frequent, and it's been a little more ad hoc. So they were absolutely happy to change that working relationship. So I wanted to talk about that because our CAO did put forward a rather detailed note.
That's a great update. Thank you so much, Mayor Alcock, for that on our Lakeland dividends. Any questions on that report, Deputy Mayor Armour?
Thanks, Chair Morrison. First one, I think it's for Director McKenzie. With this reduction of 212,000, which has already been included, I believe, in our 27 budget, How do we anticipate making that up, or are we going to see that in the fourth quarter as a deficit?
We plan on bringing back a Q1 report in April, and we'll bring back some recommendations at that time.
Very quickly too, I noticed in the report it talks about insurance. You can go through an insurance program for a claim for this money. I think it says typically $2 million. The letter further notes that approximately 2.7 million may be recoverable through insurance or the Ontario Energy Rate Boards. Are we going through that process?
Okay, and I would assume if they're successful, then that might change the dividends. Yeah, good question. Okay, any other questions on this report? Oh, it's Councillor Fitzgerald, I acknowledge you. There you go.
Thanks, Chair Morrison. The effect of this is we're realizing this year, not in 27, because in 27 they say they're going to reinstate it, right?
Director McKenzie? Maybe.
Sorry, I was trying to listen
I
to your
think-
question. The fan went back on.
Well, I think
there.
Mayor Alcock had mentioned it in the update that we're hoping it's going to be back to normal in 27 is what he said, right? Councillor Fitzgerald's wondering if this is a one-off or if it's going to be.
Well, Deputy Mayor Armour mentioned 27 budget, where they say it's going to be restored for 27. The effect is this year on the budget. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that there is a potential for a special dividend should circumstances allow. So, I think there was some discussion about how secure is this investment moving forward and is it the right thing to do? And I think if these things come to fruition, then I feel a little more comfortable. So.
If I may, sorry, Chair Morrison, that's how we felt. I think there was a sense when we all got together for that special meeting that we were loaded with questions, and they were also loaded with answers and equally concerned, but they did walk through all of the areas where they found savings. Some might say always a good thing to be doing it on a regular basis, which they do, but they really drilled down. And so that was very useful information at the same time.
Good question. Any other comments, questions? With that, I'll pass the chair back to Mayor Alcock to resume.
Thank you, Chair Morrison. We don't have anything under new business. Nothing under general information, nothing enclosed. So I have, Councillor Schumacher.
Sorry, I'm out of order, but I just wanted to let everyone know, because I don't think I said where to find the survey for the Muskoka Heritage Place,
Good
and it is
point.
on myhuntsville.ca.
Right.
So take your time, go there, and as I said, it is up until March 2nd, so appreciate the feedback from the community.
And that was the survey for Heritage
The
Place.
survey
Yep.
for Muskoka Heritage Place on
Yep.
myhuntsville.ca.
Perfect. Thank you for that, because I forgot to ask. Okay, then I have one more motion, and that it has been moved by Councillor Morrison, seconded by Councillor Cluche. It is recommended that we do now adjourn at 11:22 a.m. All those in favor? And that carries. Thank you.